Emmy, what do you think about today's guest?
Well, today's guest is amazing. I'm very excited for today's guest. So, well, hi, Philip.
Hey,
We are very happy to have you here.
of course. It's great to meet you both. Thanks for having me.
No, it's great to having you here. And Philip, we are truly excited to have you here. The communication with you and Elena has been fantastic,
No,
and Emmy and I are very happy this is happening. For us as a fans outside of the USA, talking with the creator of your magnitude honestly feels like a dream come true.
well, well, this is a huge honor for me to hear that. So thank you very much for reading and for your interest. And it's a real pleasure to talk to you both.
Oh, thank you very
Yeah.
much. Well, as an icebreaker question, I think I want to ask you like two first questions.
Sure.
It can be a single answer, but can you tell me which was the first comic book that you read, or which one was the one that made you hook with this media?
I mean, I can't. I don't know what the first comic I read would have been, but I know
Okay.
that one of the earliest ones that made a big impression on me that I still remember vividly from back then is an issue called Superman 400.
Oh,
Yeah.
It came out in the 80s, and it was the 800th excuse me, for the 400th issue. So it was an anthology issue written by Elliot S. Maggin, and so it's just a collection of short stories, and just the theme of the issue was just Superman in the future. So there were a bunch of different stories about either about Superman himself in the future, or about his legacy, or about his importance to the world, sometimes after he had gone. And most of my comic book experiences before that had been much more basic, just kind of basic kid stuff, adventure kind of stories, and kind of in the house style, like the very traditional kind of comic book art and everything. And Superman 400 was so different. It was, man, how can I even describe it? Some of the stories were very unusual. And when I read it
Yes,
at the
yes.
time as a kid, do you guys know that issue?
yes. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked with Elena about this,
Uh-huh.
and this episode of the podcast, it's named Grapas Icónicas in Spanish. That it's iconic issues in English, and she told us that we can talk about today of Superman 400.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're really ready to read about
Oh,
Superman
good.
400.
Yeah.
See, yeah.
I love that issue.
But-
And the at the time, some of the stories, like the art, as a little kid, the art did not look the way I expected. You know, like some of the art was very unusual.
Yes.
There were pinups, like single pages
Yeah, yeah.
by like Will Eisner and
See.
Mobius and
Jack
God,
Kirby.
Jack Kirby. Yeah,
Kirby, yes.
like I think the cover was by Howard Chaykin,
See, yes.
Bill Sienkiewicz, and just unbelievable names. Like I'm leaving out the names of legends, you know. Like there's just so many amazing people. There was a story in there illustrated. I think Elliot S. Maggin wrote them all, but there was one story illustrated by Frank Miller.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
my personal favorite.
Yeah. Well, at the
Yeah.
time as a kid, I didn't like it, and I was like, this looks kind of weird. It has that Frank Miller style.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
before we dive into the conversation, let me
Uh-huh.
give a proper introduction to our guest for the audience that maybe who don't know Philip. And Philip, he's the writer of runs like Superman War Saga. What is my personal favorite in the in the
Yeah.
DC world?
Yes, I have it too here.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yes.
So, Action Comics, Alien, The Last God, and now Marvel's Hulk, which is being relaunched in this November as
Yes.
Infernal Hulk. And I'm really excited about that, by the way. And let me say one inside joke. One of our listeners, Elian, absolutely loves your work,
No.
but he don't speak English very well, so he's probably going to miss out this episode. So
Oh,
sorry,
no.
Elian.
Well, what's their name?
Elian.
Elian.
He goes by Alien. Nice.
Yes.
Well, mucho gusto, Elian. Thanks for reading the book. And yeah. Anyway, hopefully we'll get to. I'll just have to work on my Spanish some more until we can actually talk. Like
Yeah.
there's
Well,
There's
this
a-
episode is going to be subtitled too. So,
Yeah.
oh,
well,
good.
most
It's
of
a
all,
little joke. It's a little
our
joke.
of our listeners are Spanish. Our episodes are
Sure.
always in Spanish. So
Sure, of course.
it's going to be
Yeah.
subtitled for them.
Man, I wish my Spanish was better. It would be great to talk to you guys in Spanish, but I just can't hang. But I'll
If you
keep working on
want to practice, we're totally free
Not-
for it.
Not on camera, thank you.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
So, I mean, I don't know if you'd like to add something, but and maybe also walk us through the general plot of today's issue.
Yes, I want to give a little explanation of what the name of, I already gave it, of Grapas Icónicas. In Spanish, grapa is an staple. And, well, in the book Spine, I show this amazing issue. I really love it. And, well, the staples here in the book Spine are grapas. And in Spanish, we say the grapa for a single issue. So that's the name. Well, here is the name of Grapas Icónicas, iconic issues, or iconic staples. And, well, as Philip said before, this is an anthology issue of the Superman legacy, of the story of Superman. It's amazing. I really like it because we see Superman in many times, in many ages, and how the Superman myth move across that. So, Philip, well, you say already many things about this, but what can you say about the Superman as a cultural icon?
Superman is so in English. There's this cliche phrase that like people will say, "Absolute power corrupts absolutely." Do you have an equivalent of that in Spanish? Is that something people say, or not really?
I'm not sure about that, but I
Yeah.
can totally understand what.
Something we say here is like
Yes.
absolute power corrupts absolutely.
See,
Like power-
it's like in Spanish, it's like poder absoluto corrompe absolutamente, or something like that. Yeah.
It's-
We'll understand.
It's just a thing like people. It's just kind of understood that power corrupts, and the greater power you have, the more it corrupts you.
Yep.
And Superman is the living antithesis of that, like the opposite of that idea. Like I have to believe that it's possible to have great power, and even to seek great power, but to use it instead of using it with ultimate corruption, to use it with ultimate compassion and humility, and empathy for people. Like that's.
Yeah.
I need to believe that that it's possible to be powerful and not be corrupt. And Superman is that living idea.
Yeah.
There was so when I first came onto the book, the old Superman catchphrase was "truth, justice, and the American way."
Yeah.
And when I first got on the book, I had characters say "truth and justice." Like in my Superman run, Superman's kind of like in Gladiator, where he's like strength and honor, that kind of thing. Like Superman says truth and justice, and some American readers got all pissed about that. And I also wrote "Truth and Justice: The American Way" in a book, and that's fine. But the really his actual slogan in Action Comics #1, like back in 1938 or whatever, was "Champion of the Oppressed."
Yes.
Yeah. We have an episode
one.
for that issue.
Yes.
That's the one that really matters to me.
Yes.
Like the American Way thing was something that came much, much, much later. So truth and justice matters, but champion of the oppressed is the one that defines him,
Yeah.
So that's what Superman is to me. Like whenever I just have to believe that it's possible to be strong but also care about people and compassion. Like whenever there's kind of this rule that I set for myself when I write Superman is that anytime his powers are on display on the page, it can only be to illustrate how incorruptible he is. You can't just I can never have him just punching somebody big for no reason. Because if the book is just about him getting in a big fist fight with a giant robot or a monster or whatever, the comic store is filled with hundreds of characters who can do that. But Superman is the one who will show just off the chain power, but then open up the car of people that he just saved and kind of tug on the little kid's seatbelt and make sure, everyone okay back here? Or like, tie a little kid's shoe, or just check on him and show that he cares about the least of us. While he's pushing planets around, he's still he still cares about this, about the least of us. That's what sets Superman apart.
Yeah.
And that has to be on the page every time. It can never be just a show of force. It needs to be a show of force followed by some moment of compassion. There was a moment like that in my my Metallo arc.
Yeah.
Where Metallo has kind of mutated into this really scary looking thing, and he's trying to kill Superman's family. He's taken Superman's kids, and Superman extends his bioelectric aura. Do you guys know what that is?
Yes.
Okay, so for those who are listening who don't know, his strength and his flight and all those things kind of come from his bioelectric aura. That that's the thing that the reason he flies up and catches the plane and moves it instead of just punching right through it is because his bioelectric aura kind of grabs onto the thing and extends to the thing that he's touching and all that. So I had Superman's bioelectric aura extend into a giant version of himself, like this Dragon Ball Z kind of thing. And he just smashes Metallo into the ground and just knocks him to pieces. But then he stops, and when the fight is over and his kids are safe, he steps down and he helps put him back together again. And he says, "Okay, now let's go save your sister," because he's discovered that Metallo is doing this because his sister has been taken, and he's doing what he's told to protect his own sister because he has his family too. And Metallo says, "I just tried to kill your children, and you're gonna help me now?" And Superman says, "Well, anybody else would do the same thing." And Metallo says, "I wouldn't." And he said, "Well, maybe not yet, but someday." He even somebody like Metallo who just tried to kill, imagine somebody trying to kill your own children,
Yes.
and then showing them that kind of care.
Yeah.
That. Superman is the one that shows us the way, and he believes in us. He believes in the worst of us, that we can be better. So
Honestly, hearing you talk about this is incredible. It feels like we are getting a real masterclass in comics. It's my brain is wow.
Yes, me too.
It's really
I really love that you talk Superman in that way, because I think that right now it's cultural. Like many people say that Superman, it's boring because of that, or that
whatever.
Yes, and
They just don't get it.
Yeah,
It's okay.
Totally. And I really love to see comic book author like you talk about that way, because it's the way that the people that get it see Superman. And I really like Superman because of that, because he always look like to make up things in the better way possible. Or if isn't one or two, he look for another way to do it. And he get it. And I really love that we can see the best of humanity in him, despite
Exactly.
he's not human as a race.
yeah. Superman
But he
represents the
chooses
best
to,
of.
right? He chooses to be human. He sees the best in us. If you
Yeah,
go,
that's right.
Go ahead, Milo. What were you saying?
No. That's the Superman represents the best of what we can be, and it's amazing that is your vision, and Amy and I share that vision too. So
Good.
it's amazing.
I'm very glad to hear that.
So
There was
Amy,
a
can you
story
add
that I
something?
wrote in which we're seeing in one of my future state issues. It shows Superman. It's called Superman Worlds of War.
Okay.
And it shows him fighting as a gladiator on Warworld. It was kind of that issue was kind of like a summary of what I was about to do with the Warworld saga. It was kind of like a proof of concept of what was coming. So we see him on Warworld fighting as a gladiator. He's lost almost all of his powers. He's in a place that's powered with the red sun, so he's practically human. And as we're seeing him fight to protect this other alien, we're reading an article from the Daily Planet that Clark Kent wrote during his time on Earth. and it's a story about a homeless man who died,
Yes.
and about a person that some of us would just walk right past and not think anything. I try to ignore him, or like somebody that we regard, like some people, well, the kind of person that some people regard as trash.
Yes.
There was a guy on TV here last week who so there was a crime committed by a mentally ill homeless person here, and there was a guy on Fox News that suggested that we just start executing mentally ill homeless people. Man, that just makes me violently angry.
No, I totally get it. Ugh.
And Superman wrote this story about this homeless man who had died. Somebody that people like that think deserve death for no reason because they're poor. But Superman held him in the highest regard because he took the time to know his name and where he came from and how he came to be there. He knew about how, he volunteered to go fight the Nazis, and he came home and was important to the civil rights movement. And he started companies, and they, ultimately they failed, but he never stopped trying. He ran for public office, and he always lost, but he kept running, and he did charities, and he's, a good person who he was not born with great talents or gifts, but he did everything he could with the gifts that he did have. And Superman tries to be like him, and he had these great gifts himself that he used to great effect, but he aspires to be like that homeless man who died on the street. So that kind of thing is that defines what Superman is to me. That's my opinion on who Superman is.
Yes, I really love your answer. For the listeners, the story that you're talking about is Future State Superman, no? The Wars of War?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for the people who can look for that, it's a great story. I love it.
Thanks.
So, can I return to talk about Superman 400? Because it's interesting to me that in no one of the stories of Superman, he appears like a main character. He's only shown as a sample. What do you think about that choice, and what does it say about the character?
Well, I mean, because Superman stories can often be about his legacy, right?
Yes.
Like that Frank Miller story. Superman himself does not appear in that story. And as a kid, I didn't like that. But but it's about a homeless guy. Like, it's about that guy who finds what he believes to be Superman's costume. And he puts it on just to stay warm,
Yes, that's my favorite story in this issue.
It's
far.
incredible.
It's an amazing story.
Yeah, it's a great story. And he through his example, he inspires this huge population of people to rise up against their oppressors. Superman, even in death, Superman was the champion of the oppressed. And he inspired some normal man to be the same. And then he inspires everyone else, and then they rise up and they take their freedom.
Yes, I really like this story because it's a world or a time where it's illegal to think, basically. You can read, it's illegal to enter to a library, and see this homeless man just take the suit to keep it warm, and then he inspired himself, first of all, because he noticed that he's invulnerable because of the cloth of the suit.
Yeah.
And he inspired many people just because the symbol, and people saw him, and so it's Superman, disobedience, let's rebel. And I really love that story in this anthology.
Yeah, me too. It's a beautiful story. I really like that one. As a kid, that book confused me, but I kept thinking about it, and it never really let go of me,
Yes.
Because that was my first time that I remember experiencing comics as high art, like fine art.
Yes.
The way that you would, when you go to a museum to experience great works of art that these great artists gave their lives to be able to produce, that comic was like that for me. And when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, these pictures aren't as pretty as the ones I'm used to. I was used to much more like Garcia Lopez kind of artwork, or I don't know. That was what I wanted, you know. So when I saw the issue, I didn't get it, but I kept thinking about it and thinking about it, and that book, more than any other, defined my idea of what Superman is.
Do you remember how? Do you remember how old you were when you first read it?
I don't know. I would have been very young. I think I would have already seen the film by then. So the movie came out the year I was born.
Okay.
And so I probably would have seen that movie for the first time on network television. Like they would have like edited it, like made it a little bit shorter and cut out any of the bad words and put it on TV, and that like with commercials. And that's just how I watched movies back then. So that's probably how I would have seen it back then. And I would have seen, I mean, I remember seeing that at some point they released one of the sequels in the theater, or maybe they re-released the original in the theater or something when I was still a very little boy. And, man, I just needed that story so bad. And the same thing with the comic. Like I was this kid kind of growing up in the Midwest United States in Iowa. And, I was kind of a sad, frustrated kid, like real small for my age, kind of getting kicked around a lot. And then I see this story about this guy who was sent to Earth by people who loved him to do great things.
Yes.
And hearing John Williams' music, you know, and then I remember being in the theater and seeing like that S shield kind of fly at us in 3D, where it's like,
yeah.
I'm like, oh, I was so into it, man. Like that shaped my life, you know. And that comic, Superman 400, had a similar impact on me. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's just a thought I have. I have like this theory, like this thought that a very romantic one, that stories choose us, because sometimes we don't get the story, but sometimes we read something and we think about it, and that story defines us. And many stories in many ways. It can be a movie, it can be a comic book, a book, and sometimes the story don't choose us, and it can be like the comic or the book that you have on the shelf for many time. And someday you say that, okay, now I'm going to read it. And you read it again or another moment or for first time, and you totally fall in love with the story. So I think that, Superman 400 choose you.
I love that. That's how it felt. That's how it felt at the time, for sure. Like it was a story I kept coming back to. I don't remember very many of those comics that I read back then. My love of comics came from a relatively small stack of books. I didn't have a lot of comics. I mean, for a kid, it seemed like a ton as a little boy. But I mean, but now I'm friends with all these people who have these crazy collections that are just massive. And I never really had a collection like that. Because I'm not really a collector. I get them to read them. I don't collect them and take precious care of them or anything. I just get them to read them. And I mean, I try to take care of my books now because I want them to last. I want my son to have them, and maybe I'll have a grandchild that has them. So I try to take care of them, but I'm not, you know, I don't slab any books or anything. So they were all kind of ripped up. And I mean, when my dad first brought those comics home, he was buying them from like garage sales or like people who were just clearing out their house. They would just sell junk out of their garage, and he would just buy, like, if there was like a milk crate or like a cardboard box full of comics, he'd get them for a couple of bucks. He'd just bring me whatever they were just to help me learn to read.
Yes.
But I really fell in love with the medium, like that, the way that comics represent like the marriage of art and language. I just fell in love with them in a way that my dad didn't like. He just wanted, to him, they were just trash, just to learn how to read. Now, a tool to learn how to read and then like to be thrown away. But I just loved them, and I started making my own right from the beginning. So, and like those Superman and Batman ones kind of spoke to me more than the others. Okay. So those are the ones that really, that, as you say, they found me. But those are the stories that fell in love with me as a kid, and Superman 400 in particular.
I have a quick question, just thinking about it, and you talk about a collection. Well, then you are not a collector. Do you have a copy of Superman 400? I'm a little
I do.
curious. Well, that's
Wow.
right. Yes.
I have that original. I have the old copy still,
Oh,
and I found another one somewhere. I don't remember where I got it, but I found another copy of it someplace. So I have two copies of that book.
Wow.
that's cool.
I don't know where it is. It's in
In
the house.
boxes or
Yes.
yeah. Amy, you want to ask something or
I don't know. You haven't done questions, so maybe
no,
you?
no. Let's continue.
Okay. Well, you are saying that Superman Legacy is very important. I have the question that in your work, I can see that. I can see how you work with the Superman Legacy. I can see it now in the new issue of the Book of L that it's literally everything there. So how you manage to work with the legacy of Superman and working with him as a man and as a myth? Because, well, we know Superman is a man first of everything, but the myth is so important for the character. So how you work and how you manage to balance both things?
Let me think. I don't know. It just feels like he's just one thing to me. It doesn't feel like two. Like because the thing that makes him the myth is not just the strength, right? It's how much he cares about everyone on the smallest level, despite his ridiculous strength. There's actually a thing I talk about that actually in Adventures of Superman Book of L issue 2 that's about to come out.
Yeah,
that
next
comes
week.
out. Yeah, that comes out next week. Let me I've got those pages though. Let me pull it up. It talks about, so there's a passage in the preview. Like if you see Book of L number 2 preview, these pages are in there. There's a passage of the Book of L where it talks about the chronicler of the House of L talks about how hard it was to like document Superman's power levels. And let me find that, and that kind of talks about it. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay, so he's fighting. Let's see. Okay, it says, many attempts have been made over many years to study and understand the abilities of Kal-El as Superman. His many documented adventures make his abilities uniquely difficult to understand due to his habit of wielding only the strength required and no more. When Superman was tested beyond his limits, what were previously understood to be his limits were often exceeded. In short, the abilities of Superman were limited not by physiology, but by the needs of the oppressed.
Okay.
So what that means is we still don't, even 1,000 years later, people don't really understand how powerful Superman was because he would use only the strength that he needed to win.
Yes.
And whenever, like if he was going up against something that seemed to be too powerful for him, he showed new power levels that we didn't even know that he had before. You know what I mean?
Yes, Superman.
Yeah.
I once heard, I don't remember where of it, if I read it, but Superman is as strong as he needs to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that.
People, yeah, the man in the myth thing, that's kind of like that's the balance that I talked about before, where I said it can't just be about the awesome physical things he can do. That must be tempered by how much he cares about us, and by us, I mean the bad guys too. There are people in this world that I regard as villains in real life that are just beyond redemption. Without getting too much into politics, you can probably imagine who they are. But
Yes.
Yeah.
but Superman believes in all of us in a way that I try to. Like Superman understands that there are no villains, really. Like
Yes.
that there are people who are afraid or who have been trained to be selfish by the things they experience in their lives, or trained to be angry because of the things they experienced, or trained to be afraid of things. And he doesn't see people that have to get their asses kicked. He sees people that need his help.
Yes, I Well, I really like that point of view. I agree with. I always say that with many people that having arguments that violence doesn't have to be the answer. It sometimes it is the answer. I don't like it, but it's the world that we live, and it's a world in where Superman lived. And I really like that point of view that there are no villains. They are like victims of their own reality, and that well they become what they are now in real life and in comic books.
Yeah. Like to me, the man that he is, like the compassion that he shows, is what makes him a myth.
Yes.
Is what that makes him a legend. You know, because it's not just the strength. So yeah, to me, it's the same thing.
Okay.
I want to go back to Superman 400, knowing everything you've just said and knowing that you read it as a kid. How do you think that vision of the future has aged now that we are actually living in the future, no?
Well, that Frank Miller story seems awfully close to real life now.
Yeah.
That bums me out. But you know, we're here too. It's not just the evil guys keeping us out of the libraries. Like, there's also us. You know, we're just as real as they are. And I don't know, man. Stories like that Frank Miller, Elliot S. Magan story in Superman 400 just remind me the impact that some nobody can have. I mean, so with the kinds of stories that I tell, the kind of stories that I write and publish, and the situation that my country is in right now, this is a version of a world in which I could very easily die in prison someday.
Okay.
But I mean, what are we supposed to do? Just not fight because of that? Are we not supposed to? Are we supposed to stop telling the truth? Yes. You know, there's a scene in War Saga where I talk about that, where he's fighting, like OMAC is fighting because she's being forced to, basically. And Superman says, like, OMAC is basically telling him he doesn't have a chance. Like, he's way underpowered. And he's like, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to only fight when we're stronger than our opponents? If we're too weak or we've lost a step, are we supposed to just do nothing?
Yes.
No, that can't be the answer. So Superman stories are the ones that remind me what the mission statement is, like how we're supposed to do this. Like I just remember that my son reads these stories too, and he sees what I do. And I want to teach him to be brave.
Yes. Yes. It's World Saga. I think it's a very political story, and I really like it because of that. I can see it, and yes, we have to stand and fight for what we think we are right.
Yeah, I try to remind. I do try to remind the readers that Superman regards the bad guys as just misguided and not actually bad guys.
Yes.
There's a story in I think it's the last arc that I did called called New Worlds or something. The trade paperback that came out is called Revenge of the Demon, but I didn't choose that title. But it shows there's this organization called Blue Earth that is very anti-alien, and there are these basically, like, cops have been given parts of Superman's powers, and they're using them to terrorize aliens. So Superman stops them in the street, and he says, "I choose to believe that you put on those uniforms in an attempt to do good today. Like, I choose to believe that you felt some sort of duty, and that's why you're doing this. I choose to believe that because the people who put on uniforms to commit crimes are the very worst kinds of people.
Yeah.
And I choose to believe that that's not who you are."
Okay.
And when he says that to them, a couple of people kind of back off. They're like, "You're right. I don't want to do this. Like, this is not. I put on this uniform to stop crime. It's not to be a criminal."
Yes.
But there are still a couple other guys that still fight, like, who still like, "No, I do want this." But the others backed off. Those are the stories I want my son to read. Like, I don't want him to I don't want him to hate his family that disagrees with us about important things. I don't know if he's got a cousin who ends up being like racist or hating immigrants or whatever the thing is. I don't want my son to hate those people. I want him to understand that they have been misled, and that it's, to make what we should do is try to make them admire us and want to be like us.
Yes.
And help them if we can.
This is a thought I've been having since all the creators in this issue were American, and in the mainstream comics, the vast majority of creators are Americans. Do you think your vision can also resonate with readers outside of the USA? Because in this issue, in Superman 400, we read the American way many times. So, what can you say about that?
Sorry. So what do you mean? How do I think my work is being received outside the U.S.?
Yes, exactly that.
I don't know. I can't speak for them. I don't know. I hope that my opinions are clear on the page. I try not to blow up social media with that kind of stuff.
Okay.
It just feels so useless. Because everyone's shouting about the same stuff. Like lately in the news, it seems like every day is just a new disgrace,
yes,
or a new humiliation that's happening. I'm just it's so easy to get so angry about it. Because I was in the Army for 20 years. I just retired from the U.S. Army, and the stuff that I see saddens me greatly sometimes. And but to just like make noise about it on social media, that stuff's not going to last. So instead, I try to put my thoughts into my work, and I don't know. I try to rely on subtext rather than just saying it on its face. I try to, instead of just saying the truth in a book, I try to make the reader feel it.
Yes,
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's see, what's an example? So in the Warworld saga, like most of the story on Warworld is about human trafficking, which is a problem here, and other places. I used to do anti-human trafficking work in Baltimore, near where I live, and very often I would see, by the time I met some of these women that I met, they have been under the control of a pimp for years. They're addicted to drugs. They don't have anything. They're basically living outside. It's just really, really bad. And often it's too late to save them. And in any case, they didn't want our help anyway. And that was so on Warworld, everybody on Warworld wears a chain. So when somebody is enslaved and sent to Warworld, they have their wrists are shackled together like that.
Yes.
And with every victory that they win, they get one more link in a chain. So now it's like this. And then if they win again, they get another one. And the more victories they win, the more people they kill, basically, their reach continues to grow and grow. And it makes them feel more powerful. And if you've got 10 victories, now you've got a chain like out in front of you that's like cool looking. And when you've killed a bunch of people, you start to wrap it around your wrists, your arms, and you look powerful. You have your reach grows, your influence on your world around you grows. You're trusted to carry more weight because you're stronger. So that chain becomes this like a status symbol. That becomes something that they're very proud of, and they show off. And they don't have anything else in the world. They've lost their families, they've lost their homes, they've lost everything they ever owned, everything they ever cared about. All they have is this chain. That chain is real. Human trafficking victims carry it too. That represents their bond to their slaver, to their pimp. The women that I met in Baltimore, they didn't think they had a pimp or slaver. They think they had a boyfriend, and that when they just save up enough money, they can get married and everything's going to be okay. Yeah. But it's all bullshit. And if you find them and you tell them I'm here to help you. What can I do? What can I do to help you? What can I do to help you get off the street and all that? if you threaten their relationship with their pimp, like they don't have any kind of work history, they don't have a birth certificate or a driver's license or a resume or any like a record of their school grades, their family's gone, they've lost all that stuff. All they have is their relationship with their pimp, and they will kill you to defend it. That's what Warworld Saga is about. I wanted to know what Superman would do. How do you save someone that doesn't want your help? How do you save someone who hates you?
Yeah. Just to be clear, your vision really resonates with us in a very powerful way. It's not only about what it represents for Superman, but also about what it says about us as our readers. I
No.
feel that many of the ideas you put in your books, in your comics, go beyond the pages and invite us to reflect on who we are and where we want to go.
No, thank you so much. I mean, as far as what other people in other countries think, I just the things that I write about, I feel like do not belong to any particular place. They should be things that we all connect with. Like human trafficking is a problem all over the place.
Sure.
Yes, we can see it
Yeah,
here in Mexico. Here in Mexico we have many problems, as you can know.
Sí.
Sure.
And
The violence is a problem here.
yes, a
Sure.
big deal. Everybody knows, no? And despite sometimes it's exaggerated in many places, but I can resonate, and I think that the values that you talk about in Warworld Saga completely fit in every reality, because as you said before, the oppressor, sometimes they have people that I don't know why. Well, we don't know why, but they applaud to them, like they're right, and they don't see that they need help. And here in Mexico, it's a lot with many things. I don't want to get political and say everything here, but I really like that, and I can see the chain analogy in many ways, in many things.
It's everyone knows. Like if I had just said the words in the comic, slavery is bad,
Yes.
like everybody fucking knows that.
Yes.
Like you have to make them feel it. You have to make them feel that this system is broken, and I'm a part of it, and like I need to change what I'm doing. I wrote stuff about the political system, the issues in going on in the United States right now. Blue Earth is all about that.
Yes.
And everyone everyone should agree that Superman is the champion of the oppressed, and that we should all be that. We should all be champions for the oppressed, whoever the oppressed are. Like I am not a trans person. I'm not transgender, but they are oppressed here.
Yes.
That fucking matters to me. Like whoever the oppressed are, we should be champions of those people. Immigrants, they're being targeted right now. Like they need us, So anyway, things like that shouldn't really be about boundaries. It should be like, ideas like championing the oppressed, truth and justice, things like that. Those should be universal. And hopefully, I don't know, I have not read these works in other translations, but hopefully readers in other countries feel that same thing.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I have it in Spanish, the Warworld Saga, and I get it. So
good.
if I get it,
how are the translations? Are they effective? Are they
I
good?
think they're good. They're
Yeah,
good.
they're
I
good.
read it
See,
in
they're good
English and
translate.
in Spanish. I read in both ways.
Oh, cool.
And I think that I read most in English, to be honest. But I think that the Warworld Saga, is in Spanish, and I think it's a good translation.
Good.
Yes.
I'm glad. I often wonder about that, because I give different characters very different voices. Like Chadel, the little Warzoon that's missing it doesn't have any legs. That guy.
Yes.
He has a very old-fashioned way of talking that sounds like something out of an old fantasy book. Just to kind of illustrate how old he is. He's like the oldest living Warzoon because he's killed so many people. And he has a very different way of speaking. And different characters on Warworld all have very different voices. And whenever I think about the translations, I'm like, please get that across.
It's a good translate.
I don't want them to all sound just like regular,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. they are have their own voices.
Good. I'm glad.
And I think that the critic you make that the system itself it's the corrupt is just incredible because I also think that of course in different ways we are oppressed and that makes the message even more universal. I don't know if it's really powerful that you say before.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that very much.
I have a question, a
Sure.
little beside the Superman 400. It's with your work, but we all know that this is a pre-crisis story. So I have the question that what do you like about this pre-crisis era, and what of this you used in your work today?
Sorry, I don't understand. You said a pre-crisis story? Is that what you said?
Pre-crisis, yeah. Before Crisis on Infinite Earth.
Oh, which? Oh, you mean Superman 400 was?
Yes,
was pre-crisis?
Yeah, Superman 400. It's a pre-crisis story.
Yeah.
And well, pre-crisis is a very funny, no? I really
different
like
time, right?
Yes, and
Yeah.
The question is that what about the pre-crisis you like of Superman?
Oh.
And what you use in your work?
Not very much.
Yes.
The Superman cape pocket.
Yes, the potion.
Yeah, right. I mean, okay, so I tell you who loves the Silver Age stuff is Grant Morrison.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grant. I got to hang out with Grant in Glasgow in Scotland a couple of years ago. That was so cool. Like we talked about Superman. We just got in this bar and drank too much and talked about Superman for like an hour. It was great. He loves those old stories, and that's perfectly clear in all of Grant's work.
Yes.
For me, it's a little different. I don't need it to be like silly like it was back then, and I don't know, man. It's just not. So okay, there were other problems back. So you see you remember the covers from that old time when
Yes.
like Superman had like the giant brain, or like
Yes, yeah, I really love. Yes.
or like his the big crown, like what's another one like Turtle Boy Jimmy and all that.
Yes.
I will say some of that stuff you will see some of that stuff reflected in the comics in this new series. There is a little bit of that.
Okay.
I acknowledge the. Did you guys read Superman and the Authority that Grant and Frank Whiteley did?
Yeah.
Or excuse me, I'm sorry, Grant Morrison and Mikhail Hanin.
Yes.
Mikkel Hanin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see. There was that room of memorabilia, and there was like the old time machine, and there was King Arthur's round table and stuff like that in there. We see that room again in this book, which is cool.
Okay.
Like all that same stuff is in there. And actually a couple of things that like there's an acknowledgement of the old Turtle Boy stories. There's an acknowledgement of the time machine, things like that. So you will see some of that stuff show up. But for the most part, there were things back then that I don't really have a place in my stories now, because I'm trying to tell a story. Like I feel a weight of responsibility when I write Superman that I don't feel on any other book.
Okay.
I try to on every character. I try to tell a story that really matters to me a lot. Like I'm never telling stories that don't matter to me. They all do.
Okay.
But when you're writing a story about Superman, you're telling a story about how best to be human. It's like a big deal. It's like this.
Okay.
It's like a philosophical statement. It's not just a fun story. It has to matter to me. If I was writing a story about giant head, pink kryptonite Superman or whatever from that time, it just doesn't really fit into that vision of what I'm trying to do. Also, the relationship between Superman and Lois back then was pretty lame, I thought.
Yes.
Like he's always kind of playing tricks on her and stuff. Like Lois was kind of lame too. Like Lois, like a long time ago, was always like, "Oh, Clark, you're so lame and weak," and it's like, "Oh, Superman's the big tough guy, and I'm into him." And it was I didn't like Lois very much at all. But then also Superman was always like laughing about how stupid she was while he was, he would pretend to be Clark Kent and then actually be Superman. And it was kind of mean about it sometimes.
Yes.
that whole thing kind of grosses me out. So I'm glad I'm glad that's all over. Honestly.
Philip, let me ask you something.
Yeah, sure.
In some way, I feel like your story draws a little from Morrison's stories. And tell me if I'm wrong, but I sense that some of your ideas seem to be in conversation with his. That way of using superheroes not only as a fictional characters, but as a symbols that help us to understand larger realities, even criticals of the system. Would you say there is a conscious connection with Morrison's work?
Yeah, I have. Yes, I mean, part of it is because Grant was writing these stories like at the same time as I was writing mine, and and All Star Superman is one of the great Superman stories. I mean, it's
of
incredible.
course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Grant is just a writer of like unparalleled creativity. Like I'm just so impressed. Like every time I read anything by Grant, I'm so impressed with how creative Grant is. So I don't know. But since I was writing Superman at the same time as Grant, it would have been a waste not to incorporate his work in my own. So I always try to do that. But we also have extremely different visions of what of how to do these kind of things. When we were talking about how to tie Superman and the Authority into the Warworld saga, Grant had an idea. Grant was planning on revealing. So the Superman that we saw on the page in Superman and the Authority looked very different than like continuity Superman, right? Different costume. He was much older. Talked a little different. Everything was just like a little bit different. He was going to reveal that there were actually two Superman that had been like split apart, like red and blue Superman, but politically. So there was going to be like a libertarian Superman, like kind of right wing, and there was going to be like the communist Superman from Red Sun.
Yeah.
And I have so much respect for Grant, but I fucking hated that idea. that would mean that like one of those two guys had to be my Superman in the Warworld saga. And I was like, I don't know how we're going to do this. We talked on the phone. So anyway, Grant very graciously changed his plans. Thank God. But I also changed my plans a bit. I was not planning on that. Like when I was first conceiving of the Warworld saga, I thought it was going to be just Superman up there, or maybe him like just Superman and Batman, or just Superman and Midnighter or somebody else. I was going to sit up there with like maybe one other person, but it was basically just going to be him. And then, Grant did Superman and the Authority, and it just made the best sense to send the whole team up there, because that's why else would he put a team together? So we did that. And someone told me that Grant wanted Superman and the Authority to be in main continuity, which was like, I assumed it was an Elseworld story because that Superman was so different. So when he told me he wanted that Superman to count and to be part of the same continuity, I had to figure out how like older Superman is also present day young Superman in my story. Like, how is that all happening at the same time? And I had to get really creative to figure out a way to make that all work together. And we did it. Like both of us, that's how comics works. Like comics is very much a team sport, and you have to work together with other creators. So so Grant and I both adjusted our plans a lot and made it all work as one big story.
With that in mind, let's do a little exercise of imagination. If you could create a modern Superman legacy issue today, who would you to invite to contribute? Writers, artists, maybe even creators from outside of the comics.
You mean like a Superman 400 thing, but now?
Yes.
Yes.
Mikhail Hanin.
Yes.
Daniel Warren Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see. Riccardo Federici.
Okay.
Like he and I did a lot of Action Comics together. Daniel Sampere.
Oh, incredible art.
He's great, right? And he just gets better and better. Like when we first brought him onto Action Comics, I looked at his portfolio, what he's been doing, and every issue got better, or for like years. Like every issue he drew got better than the one before. I was like, we got to get this guy. He's perfect. Like I chose Daniel because he was just perfect. Oh, actually, so Ricardo, I saw Ricardo recently at MegaCon in Orlando, and we were hanging out, and we were hanging out in a bar, and he drew. He just
wow!
Oh, it's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's the hammer you have back there, right?
I was sitting next to him. What's that?
It's the hammer that you have back there.
No, that's an axe from the Last God. The book we did an
Yes.
It's Tyr's axe from that. But anyway, it says Philip the Barbarian on it.
It's amazing.
Other writers, I would ask Grant if he wanted to do something. I would be honored if Grant would do something. I would also ask Elliot S. Magan to do a story.
Okay.
Oh yes.
I just recently met him. I didn't even know that he was still around, but he was at a convention that I was at, and we spoke on the same panel. And I didn't know he was coming. I didn't hear that he was going to be there. And I'd never seen him before. I was talking to the moderator, and she said, like, okay, so I'm going to bring you up, and I'll bring up Elliot. I'm like, Elliot? And she's like, yeah, Elliot S. Magan's here. I was like, what? Like, where? It's like, that's him right there. And she pointed him out. I went down and
maybe you feel the same way we are feeling now talking with you. Eh?
That's kind of you to say. But yeah, I mean, Elliot wrote that whole issue. I was like, so I gassed him up on the panel a lot. I was like, everyone in here needs to know who this is and what a big deal this guy is and how long he wrote Superman, all the great stories he did. Because he doesn't really get it. He doesn't really get that much love these days. Like Mark Waid was the guy that used to write these kind of stories and then kind of fell out of it. And now he's back in a big way, but that doesn't happen very often. Like that could have totally been Elliot. And he was just he eventually fell out of it and just like never really came back. But his stories that he wrote back then were so important. So I would he would be my first choice. I definitely want Elliot to come back and do something. So I'd ask for him. I'd ask for Grant. Those are the writers that stick out in my mind that I'd love to have involved. As far as artists, God, there's just so many great ones.
Yes, I think I really love your choices. It's amazing.
Dan Mora. Dan Mora.
Yeah.
Dan Mora is like he's changing the whole game right now.
Yeah,
yes.
That's the face of superheroes. Dan Mora draws amazing.
He's amazing.
Once I was talking with my girlfriend, and I told her that when you imagine a comic book art, you imagine like art like Dan Mora's.
Yeah, he's completely changing the game right now. Yes. Not only is he's like the old house style that we used to do, like the Garcia Lopez kind of thing.
Yeah,
but like the modern version of that, and he's like stupid fast.
Yeah. we talk about that. He has like a lot of work.
It's absurd how fast he is. Like he can put out art like that, like 2 pages a day. It's crazy.
Yes.
He made covers, spin-offs, interiors, a lot of work.
He have in his Superman with Williamson. He have a great panel that I love. That it's Superman fighting with Doomsday, like the first time that they
I have a question,
they fight like years ago. I really love that panel of that. Your Superman as
he's
a symbol.
Amazing, and
we understand that Superman is a symbol of America. And well, you are now writing the Hulk, and well, now I can see, thanks to you, that Hulk is like part of the American folklore monsters. And I can see that. How can you manage to write the Hulk in that way too? How do you imagine that? Because I haven't thought about that before.
Well, about Superman representing America, I would actually correct that and say Superman represents who we're supposed to be.
Yes.
Okay.
Like the best part of us. And I think there are some people that have lost their way here right now, and I have to believe that that we have it in us to be better. So Superman is the best of us, And I don't know. I don't really think in terms of these borders anymore.
Okay.
So I'm not really thinking about America when I write Superman. I did once, but now it's I'm thinking about how best to be human.
Yes.
Okay.
Things that should be a little more universal. And for the Hulk thing, it's the same kind of thing. I'm not really thinking about America. I'm thinking, I mean, in the beginning, especially, there are places, because he is located in the United States. There are places that feel very much like America. Like there was a story that took place in an old dead coal mining town in the Appalachian Mountains in Kentucky, and that feels like that place because I used to live there. And there's another one that takes place in New Orleans, and that feels very much like New Orleans. But a lot of the monsters that we're showing feel more like Lovecraft.
Yes.
And that's not so much because of where he lived or anything. That was just that's just kind of the aesthetic. That's the mythology that he built. You know, he could have done that from anywhere. I don't know. Like I mean, and my favorite, so many of my favorite comic stories are Hellblazer, John Constantine.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And there's nothing. I mean, that character, of course, is English, but I don't know. I don't really think about geography so much. And my favorite filmmaker of all time is Guillermo del Toro, and there's a lot of del Toro aesthetic in my Hulk stuff too.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't really think about. I mean, there was a time when most of my work was about America in some way.
Yes.
Just because I consider myself an American patriot. But that word doesn't mean what it used to.
Okay.
Like now, if you see the word American patriot on somebody's social media, at least sometimes you kind of assume the worst. And I don't know. It just people that word patriot means different things to different people now. And I still regard myself as a patriot because I believe that we can be better than we are. The ideals that we were founded on, like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the idea that we should all have the same opportunities in life, land of opportunity, all that stuff. I believe in those ideas. But anyway, I'm probably talking too much about this, but it's
No.
it's kind of just kind of a sad time. Yeah. So it's I'm not really writing about that so much right now. Most of my stories are about my son in some way.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, when I started writing Hulk, the beauty of the Hulk concept is that any little kid can get it. Like any little kid can hear a story about a giant rage monster, a guy that gets angry and changes into a monster and breaks everything. Any little kid can understand that. But if you look at it through the lens of an adult who reads real literature, you can still have opportunities to tell really meaningful, complicated stories with the Hulk thing. Hulk can be an analogy for abuse, for child abuse, for substance abuse, for fear, for rage, for alcoholism.
Yes.
It can just mean so much. You can do so much with it. You can tell so many different meaningful stories with it. And this story, I wanted this to be a story about, kind of about addiction, sort of like the what did I do last night kind of thing. Okay. Like that's somebody who's struggling with this part of themselves that they hate and are afraid of. Like everybody has something inside of them that they're afraid of, that they hate, that they want to get rid of. If only I could stop gambling, I would be so much more successful. If only I could get up in the morning. If only I could stop overeating. If only I could stop drinking.
Yes.
If only I didn't get so fucking angry at work. You know, like everyone's got something about themselves that seems to just kind of come out of them unbidden. Like if they, like everything's going great and you're meeting all your deadlines, you're getting everything done, you haven't had a drink in a long time, whatever your thing is. And then something goes wrong. And that thing that just like, that stalks you, that thing that doesn't want you to be successful comes out and breaks everything. And all you can do is just run again, you know? This book is about that. Instead of the "you wouldn't like me when I'm angry" thing, now if Hulk gets too close to something that he loves, or if he gets too close to a moment's peace, or making a friend, or things are going well, Hulk can't have that. And then so he, Banner blacks out and he wakes up and he's surrounded by rubble and bodies, and like sirens are going off and dogs are barking, and he has to just run again. And he's just terrified of it all the time. It's a story about this guy and his worst fears that he just can't get under control. This thing that stalks him from inside of him, from behind his eyes.
Yes.
So, the Incredible Hulk issues 1 through 30 have been like the first act of that, and it just like it puts all these monsters on the board. It puts all these characters on the board. It just kind of sets us up for what's about to start now. So, Infernal Hulk is Act 2.
Okay.
And now it's going to start to interact a lot more with the Marvel Universe.
Oh.
Okay.
It's not just going to be a story about Hulk and Banner anymore. Now it's going to be a story about about Hulk is now the monster of the movie, and he's a problem for the Avengers and the X-Men and, the world. Like now he's this problem that everyone has to deal with.
That sounds amazing.
Yes, I'm very excited for Infernal Hulk and now more.
And it's not I want you to understand. I would love for all your listeners to understand that it is not a reboot or a relaunch.
No.
This was always going to be the next chapter. So
okay.
Incredible Hulk up till now has been Banner trying to deal with the Hulk, like Hulk stalking Banner and Banner trying to get away, and Banner trying to get rid of the Hulk forever, and Hulk trying to take control of the body forever. And we've seen it all through the eyes of Charlie, this kid who kind of follows him around. Charlie, the observer in the story. Charlie is us.
Yes.
And now in issue 30, I cannot wait for you to see issue 30 is about to drop.
Me neither. Now I can't. I won't sleep until I read it.
There are these 2 double-page spreads in that issue, and one of them is like kind of a transformation, and the other one we see the Mother of Horrors for the first time.
Oh.
It's so dope. Yeah, it's going to be incredible. I can't wait for you to see it. But the whole thing has just been putting all the pieces on the board for Infernal Hulk. Okay. And now Hulk is not just the monster in Banner's world. Now he's the monster in our world. He's a problem for all of us,
Okay.
And we're going to see bigger, more cosmic, more epic fights with like things that we didn't know, like cosmic giants that are like buried under Atlantis, and these thing notice of what's happening from the stars that come down to try to deal with it. And what do the Avengers do? What do the X-Men do? What does Namor do? How does Iron Man react? Yeah. Like it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait for you to see.
Sounds incredible.
Yeah,
it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, I'm excited. There's gonna be an Act 3 after Act 2, so it's not. Now, Act 1 is the longest act. I'm not saying that this is not going to be a 200 issue run or anything, but there's a fixed number of issues still left to come out.
Okay.
And it's going to be really exciting. But it's a much tighter story now, and I just can't wait for you to see.
Okay.
So, I think that maybe we can close, but as we do in every episode, we like to finish with a recommendation of the week. And it can be...
before the recommendation, I have one last question for me.
Sure,
it's,
of course.
It can be 2, because I was thinking it can be a small response. But you already write the Hulk. You already write Superman, Batman, many characters. Which character would you like to write now, or that you haven't done yet? I think, I don't know your opinion, but I think that maybe you could write Amazing Zatanna. I'm a big Zatanna fan. I don't know why I just think about that, but which character would you love to write now?
Zatanna's cool. I don't think about Zatanna that much. But she has a lot of cool potential. I really like her origin. I like the connection with her dad and how there's a lot of cool stuff there. All right, now that's something I got to think about now. I got to figure out Zatanna. I will say I kind of don't like her and Constantine together, because Constantine, like Zatanna, is just so like put together and squared away and capable, and Constantine is just such a mess.
Yes.
And he's bad. He breaks things. He's not a hero, you know. He's an awesome character, but he's not a hero at all.
Yes.
You know. I would love to write a Hellblazer book. And Zatanna, I would put Zatanna in it.
Yeah. Okay.
But it would not be them being like the happy couple.
No, yes.
I love to see that
Yes.
story.
Wow.
I would obliterate a Constantine book. And that's my DC pick. Although
And
that
for
should
Marvel?
be a Vertigo book. I would want Constantine to be a Vertigo book.
Okay.
And Marvel. Well, I mean, I want to do more Hell Hunters because I love Hell Hunters.
Okay, yeah.
I've got this Nazi problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just writing like a Marvel's Inglorious Bastards kind of book is just so fun. But if I had Wolverine,
Oh,
How?
I can see that.
I've got a Wolverine take that I would really love to do. And I kind of have strong opinions about Wolverine too. I kind of don't like. There's an element of the origin that I don't like. I don't like how young he is. I don't like that he's only a couple hundred years old. I kind of want Wolverine to be like this constant companion to humanity that's just kind of always been there. Like this ultimate survivor. I mean, he's already kind of short. He's like real like thick and sturdy and kind of feral looking.
Kind of, just saying, like a bundle savage, like.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I like the idea of him just being around a much longer time than that.
Yes.
And I like the idea that he was around a really, really long time before the X-Men ever existed, and that the X-Men are a relatively short chapter in his very long life, that he will have a lot of chapters after the X-Men are gone.
Okay.
He's kind of like this ultimate survivor that will never die.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
So I have this idea for a Wolverine story that I really want to do called Forever War.
Wow.
The X-Men are my favorite team, so I'd be very interested to see that story.
That's cool, man.
To that Wolverine. So we like to finish with a recommendation of the week. And it can be literally anything. In past episodes, we recommend things like washing your face every day, of course, comics, movies, books, anything. So we love to hear a recommendation from you, Philip. Something you enjoyed recently. It could be a film, a book, a comic, anything.
You said it could be a comic or what else? You said something about washing your face every day?
Anything you want to recommend.
Yes. Anything you want.
Anything, because we start the recommendation like this comic book, but it's transformed in many things, like wash your face, paint your house. So any recommendation you want to give to the audience, it can be anything you want.
Okay. Yeah, hold on. There's a comic I want to show you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So this is Beowulf.
Okay.
I love this book. All right. I think these guys are from Spain. This is Santiago Garcia and David Rubin. And god damn, it's good. Like it's just it's like really beautiful, great translation of Beowulf. And as far as a recommendation outside of comics,
Yes.
I would just encourage people to make things. I don't know, like to not be afraid of making things because they don't feel like they're good at something. Just to do it, rather than I see so many people. I do go online sometimes just to kind of keep my finger on the pulse of the readers and see what they like, what they want to see, how they feel about things. I kind of want to be aware of my readers and who they are. And when I see people being really like negatively critical of somebody's work, of anybody's work, kind of makes me sad. Like I want them to make their own stuff.
Okay.
I would just encourage people to consume great art and to make art of their own, even if it's not great. It just makes you really appreciate the things that you consume so much more. If you have taken the time to make things yourself, it just gives you such greater appreciation of other people that are doing things. Because I mean, even making things that aren't good is hard and brave. You know, like it takes real courage to make things and let other people see it. So yeah, I would just encourage people to make things, and use those things to honor people they care about, and just try to use those things as gifts. You know, like write a song and give it to someone for their birthday, or just because you care about them, or yeah, I don't know. Like the truest way that I can think of to show somebody that they matter is to spend your own time from your own short life to make them something and give it to them. So yeah, it just helps make you, yeah, it's just brave, and it makes you a better reader and a better viewer and it just makes you better. So I just encourage people to make things. And as far as something that somebody else made that I really deeply admire is, I would say, Beowulf by Garcia and Rubin.
Awesome.
Well,
Thank you for that.
Thanks
Yeah,
for the
of course.
recommendation. And well, yeah, we are going to say goodbye now. Thanks
It was
for
such a
for your
pleasure to meet you
time.
both.
Thanks really for
Thanks,
your time.
thanks, Philip.
We are very excited right now. As you can see, we're very happy to have you here.
Me too.
You
Listen,
have
I promise you right now, I'm going to practice my Spanish, and someday we're going to have a conversation in Spanish together, and I will be ready.
Wow,
you-
that's incredible.
Thank you very
Please.
much. We are so happy. We are so happy to have you here. You are a great person. You are a great artist. Elena is great too. The communication has been
Shout out to
amazing.
Elena.
Shout out
Shout out to Elena. You know, I like that you guys can say it, because up here it's always Elena. And
Yes.
her name is Elena. So to hear you guys
Elena.
actually say it is really cool.
Well, no, really, it's been amazing. Thank you very much.
For me too.
Thanks again.
We are big fans. I really hope that you can get to write that Wolverine story or that
Yeah.
Hellblazer story.
Yeah.
Well, thank you a lot.
Of course.
This
Thanks
is
again for giving us your time today, Philip. Thanks,
me too.
thanks.
Listen, if it wasn't for my son, I would gladly talk much longer. I just got to like it's just the two of us right now, so I got to take care of him. But otherwise, I'd happily talk longer. Let's do it again. Let's do another show someday.
yeah, it's
Okay, yeah.
Well, it's the El Bar Sin Nombre, the bar with no name. So the door of the bar is always open for you. So
No, thank you, brother. Appreciate
thank
it
you a
very much.
lot. This is El Bar Sin Nombre, and thanks everyone. Goodbye.